If you've ever played a video game on a limited demo mode, you eventually hit a hard limit. You can see the rest of the map, the trees, the mountains, the horizon, but as you run toward them, you slam into an invisible wall that halts all progress. This digital boundary mirrors a common psychological one. When we hit a point of high stress or exhaustion, our brain projects a similar stopping point. It signals that we've reached our limit, even when there is technically room left to move. Consider a treadmill workout. You push yourself to the point of absolute physical fatigue, the exact moment your mind tells you to hit the stop button. But instead of stopping, you force yourself to continue for exactly 22 more seconds. This graph tracks the gap between perceived exhaustion and our physical baseline. That plateau isn't the body failing, it's a neurological governor preventing overexertion. Pushing through those extra 22 seconds proves the tank wasn't empty. The brain was simply preserving comfort. We often accept these boundaries without question. Stepping past them requires a level of vulnerability that our biological settings are designed to avoid, so we stay within the safer, smaller map. By treating these default psychological settings as absolute truths, we leave a massive portion of our potential unused. We live in the demo mode of a much larger experience. Breaking this cycle starts with unplugging from external noise. You have to create enough silence to realize you are actually operating inside a self-imposed box. This is why deliberate solitude can feel so agonizing. It removes the distractions that usually keep us from noticing the walls we've built around ourselves. When you do decide to push past those walls, you will encounter significant resistance. You will face failures that make the safety of the old boundaries look very appealing. At this point, the differentiator is how you internalize that resistance. Some of us adopt a victim mindset, while others choose radical accountability. Imagine a snake bite. If you are bitten, you can spend your limited energy chasing the snake into the brush for revenge, or you can focus entirely on securing the antidote. One drains you, the other saves you. The psychologist Viktor Frankl argued that while we cannot control every circumstance, we always retain the freedom to choose our attitude toward them. Our history or our surroundings may influence us, but we have the final authority over our response. The initial setback is ultimately less important than the choice that follows. Growth depends on the mechanical decision to seek the antidote rather than dwelling on the bite. A clear example of this shift in perspective can be found in the career of musician John Rzeznik. In the late 90s, Rzeznik was at a professional and personal low point. He was dealing with a divorce, a difficult record deal, and severe writer's block. When he was asked to pitch a song for a film soundtrack, he had almost nothing to work with. He arrived with 2 lines of lyrics and a guitar with 2 broken strings. Instead of focusing on whether success was likely with such limited resources, he focused on how to build something with what he actually had. He stopped waiting for a perfect environment. Using that broken guitar and those few lines of lyrics, he wrote the hit song Iris. It was a massive cultural success, born not from a high-end studio, but from a patchwork of desperation and raw effort. Significant work is rarely born from pristine, ideal conditions. It is built by assembling whatever fragmented or broken pieces you happen to have available in the moment. The most effective way to innovate is to stop waiting for better tools and start moving forward with the flawed ones you already own. This process functions like an evolutionary staircase. You thrust yourself into a chaotic new environment, endure the initial strain, and eventually your capacity expands to fill the space. The daunting ceiling you were once reaching for eventually locks into place beneath your feet. Those extra 22 seconds of effort help shift your baseline. The point that used to be your maximum effort becomes your new floor, the steady ground from which you launch your next attempt. Over time, the things that once required immense courage and effort become mundane and ordinary. Your perspective has simply grown larger than the original problem. Humans aren't meant to be collector's items, preserved flawlessly on a shelf. We are built to be stressed, to crack open, and to grow. Staying safe might prevent a few scratches, but it also prevents the development of any real value. Preservation is often just another word for stagnation. The most meaningful parts of your life exist just beyond that invisible boundary. If you want to see the rest of the map, you have to be the one to actively demand the upgrade.